Catherine Hahn hosts an all-new Kimmel tonight.
We're following two big stories tonight. In fact, the first, Huber Heights community demanding action, but we want to begin with the impacts of Beryl hitting our area. Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters has been pretty busy tonight. And Natalie, I know we saw some things earlier, but what's still to come?
Yeah, we still have some storms moving through the area, posing a low wind risk for a spin-up tornado. We had a tornado warning earlier for Preble County, one in Butler, as well as Warren County. Tornado watch, this is until midnight, so you can see that for Preble County as well as Butler, Warren County. That being said, I think anywhere in the area has a very low wind risk for something to spin up through the evening. We haven't seen anything too significant thus far, but we'll continue to monitor things. As far as what's going on currently, we have some storms, this one bringing some very heavy rain into Shelby County, gusty winds. So in Sidney, lots of lightning, heavy rain approaching you, as well as some stronger winds. And then this line of storms also down in Butler County, making its way into Preble County, has some very weak rotation with it, but we'll continue to monitor that as it makes its way in. Still have a level 1 risk for severe storms through the rest of this evening, level 2 further to the southwest. So heading through the overnight hours, we'll continue to track some storms that will make their way out after midnight or so. I'll have the timing of that and the rest of the week coming up.
Tonight, Buc-ee's is getting what they requested from Huber Heights Planning Commission, but is the community getting what it wants from Buc-ee's? Community members used tonight's meeting to continue advocating for universal changing tables to be included in Ohio's first Buc-ee's location. So far, though, the company is not planning to install them. Jenna Lee Bork now live in studio with us. So, Jenna Lee, can you explain why the community actually chose this meeting to speak?
I sure can, Elise. Community members were hoping the Planning Commission would vote down a change in the detailed development plan so Buc-ee's would come to the table to negotiate adding those universal changing tables. Instead, the Planning Commission approved the change for the sign, but community members still voiced how important this is, one couple driving from Cincinnati to show their support.
There aren't places that they can actually be changed, and we need to make a change. We love Buc-ee's. But I just wish that they would realize the impact that they could have on so many individuals.
Huber Heights' Planning Commission approved a change to the Buc-ee's detailed development plan on Tuesday regarding a highway-oriented pylon sign. A Buc-ee's representative was there to answer any questions the commission might have. But something bigger was on the mind of community members: the fact that the company has not agreed to add universal changing tables to Ohio's first Buc-ee's location. 8 people spoke, all of them explaining why these tables are so needed, who they benefit, and how this is an opportunity for a big company like Buc-ee's.
Most people don't understand what this is and the opportunity that's here, not just for these folks, but for Buc-ee's themselves.
Changing Spaces Ohio is the group responsible for getting changing tables included in Ohio's building code, but Buc-ee's is not in violation of this code because of the current requirements in the code. Jennifer Corcoran, co-chair of Changing Spaces Ohio, explains how many caregivers have to change people who need these tables without access.
Tornado warning has just been issued for Butler and Preble County. With this particular storm further to our southwest, so this is the one I was showing you earlier. We do have some rotation with this. Right now, radar indicated making its way northward. So this is heading its way into parts of Preble County. Right now, it's just the southern edge of Preble County continuing to make its way northeastward at this time. But this is our latest tornado warning. This is until 11:30 p.m. So we're going to continue to track this as it makes its way northeastward right now. So it is heading towards the Oxford area, but again, Preble County under that tornado warning as well. And right now this is until 11:30 p.m. So we're continuing to get clear indications of rotation with that, as we had a broad area of rotation, but it does look like that has strengthened just a bit as it made its way off to the northeast. So this is the particular storm we're watching currently, which is in right now over the Oxford area. And I'll take a look at velocities here, which is showing you the winds within the storm. So yeah, it's this area right here. So let me draw on this for you. This spot, so we get that bright green, bright red, those colors right next to each other. That's what we call a couplet, and it is an indication that there is very strong rotation within the storm, not only at the mid levels, but also at the lower levels, indicating that could potentially be a tornado. So this is making its way northeastward, so closer into the Oxford area. It looks like it's actually traveling due northeast at 30 miles per hour. So latest scan, you could see that it moved just a little bit. It's with this one right here, making its way northward. So making its way into the Oxford area, but you can see the tornado warning does include parts of Preble County. So we're going to have to watch this one very closely. Let me go ahead and get a little timing on this as this makes its way off to the northeast. We have this for 11:41 for the Beechwood area, Summers Township 11:34, Somerville 11:28, Riley Township, that's 11:06 p.m. So this is the tornado warning that we have right now. Again, 11:30 p.m. moving to the north, Summers Township, Beechwood area, Somerville. This tornado warning will remain in effect until 11:30. So right now the rotation looks like it is heading towards the Oxford area. So it's really right over Riley Township, heading northeastward. So may skim just south of Oxford. That being said, if you are in this red polygon here, we do have that tornado warning, and that is until 11:30 p.m. So if you're in that red box, you'll want to be indoors, away from windows, at the lowest level of your home. So parts of Preble County included in this. We have State Route 127 just outside near Morning Sun, Summers Township southwest of you. But again, the storm's moving northeastward at 30 miles per hour, and that's our latest tornado warning that we do have in place for our area. So National Weather Service went ahead and issued that because that rotation was strengthening fairly quickly for us. And this is due to the remnants of Beryl that we were tracking. We actually had a tornado warning for Preble County earlier into the day. Now we have a new tornado warning for Preble County, which is the southern portions of Preble County due to this particular storm right here. So I'm going to show you the bigger picture here. We have a line of storms back off to the west, which haven't been showing too many indications of rotation. That being said, this one right here, as far as our latest scan goes, we still have a fairly clear indication of a strong area of rotation within this storm over Riley Township, and then it's heading its way northeastward. So likely through the Oxford area if this holds together, and there's our new scan, and then making its way into southern Preble County. So that's our latest tornado warning that we have. We were tracking some storms earlier that were making their way through Preble County, and then now Shelby County had some very heavy rain. We had some strong winds, but this is our latest tornado warning with us until 11:30 p.m. We have a clear indication of rotation. Right now, just radar indicated that potentially have a tornado with this particular storm. So if you are in Preble County right now, southern Preble County, again, Butler County, just outside of our region near the Oxford area, that tornado warning is until 11:30 p.m. So if you are in that red polygon indoors, away from windows, you'll want to be at the very lowest level of your home, which would likely be a basement, storm shelter as well. This continues to travel northeastward. We could potentially see this extended into parts of Montgomery County as well as parts of the rest of Preble County as well. So we're going to be watching this one closely. The thing with these storms, though, is that this is with a tropical system. So a lot of times when we get an area of rotation, it is a very quick spin up tornado type activity that they typically don't last very long. So we hope that's the case with this. That being said, we do have a fairly strong indication of rotation with this storm. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this real quick. There it is over Riley Township. Also, National Weather Service saying that they are watching an area in Miami County, not issuing a warning with that, but they are just saying that they are watching that closely. So I'm actually going to take a look at that storm up in Miami County right now to see exactly what they're seeing. So I'm taking a look at velocities here. This spot right here, which is just northwest of Piqua, and then that would be heading closer into the Lockington area. This is not tornado warned at this time. but they are saying that they are watching this one very closely because there is also a very clear indication of rotation with this that would be heading towards the Lockington area. So if you're even near Lockington right now, I would go ahead and treat this pretty seriously. We're not under a tornado warning, but I would be prepared, be at least indoors, definitely, and away from windows. And if you want to get towards that safe spot, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. Again, this is not a tornado warned storm, but it is showing a good indication of some rotation. They say at the lower levels, maybe not as strong, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up. This is our tornado warning that we do have, though, for parts of Preble County at this time, which does include Oxford and also parts of southern Preble County, which includes just outside of the Somers Township area, Israel Township, under that tornado warning. This is moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. So if I wanted to get a track on this, moving off to the northeast. So Somerville, that's about 11:30 p.m., 11:37 p.m. for Somers Township. So that's our latest warning that we have. Line back off to our west hasn't been showing too many signs of strengthening, but that being said, we're tracking this one, and we're also tracking this storm up in Miami heading into Shelby County. That's also showing some signs of rotation with this too. So that would be southeast of the Loramie Township, northwest of Piqua. And the thing with these type of systems is they may look like they're not doing too much, and then very quickly they could spin up, causing what we call a spin-up tornado. And that has been the concern that we've kind of been talking about since we've been talking about Beryl making its way in. And this is what we are talking about, the remnants of Beryl moving through the Miami Valley. And that's why we do have this tornado warning. This is until 11:30 p.m. It is for the Oxford area, south of Somers Township. So zooming in again, doesn't look like as strong of an area of rotation as before, south of Oxford. That being said, still treat this tornado warning very seriously. You'll want to be inside and away from windows if you're in the Somers Township area. And then we're also watching an area up into Preble County at this time too. So again, these are what we're tracking right now. We have our storms up in the Sydney area. This particular one actually had that tornado warning back off into Preble County earlier into the evening. Now it's making its way northeastward. Again, not warned at this moment, but we are seeing some rotation with this. So we're just watching this very closely. This is crossing over from Miami County into Shelby County. And then we also have this tornado warning right now, which does include southern Preble County. That's until 11:30 p.m. So Butler County under this, as well as Preble County until 11:30 p.m. The storm's making its way into Oxford at this time. Again, warning in effect through 11:30 at this hour, moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. So this is from the remnants of tropical, or I should say Hurricane Beryl, as it made landfall in Texas. And now we're looking at the remnants moving its way through. So we are seeing some of the impacts of this right now in the form of the potential for a brief spin-up tornado. And that's why we have been watching this particular storm. I'm going to zoom in again. I'm seeing a little area of rotation south of Oxford. I'm actually going to change my radar site here to see if I can get a better view from a different radar site, which this is from our Dayton radar. So it is a little bit too far away to get a clear indication of that rotation. That being said, if you are in southern Preble County, we got a tornado warning issued for you. And then we're also tracking this particular storm, which is in Miami County, moving into Shelby County. And I will say this doesn't look as concerning as our other radar site, which is, let's look at Dayton compared to Wilmington. So we are still seeing, it was near Loramie Township, southeast of Loramie Township, where that rotation was. Not as strong as it was previously. That being said, you will definitely want to be aware if you are in northern Miami County and into Shelby County that we're watching rotation with this. So this is for another 15 minutes or so. We got this tornado warning. This is until 11:30 p.m. It does go this storm moving to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to put an ETA on this for you to get a path of exactly where this is. First, let me get a clear view of that rotation as I change my radar site again back to our Wilmington radar, which will give you a better view. So again, it does look like this potentially was a brief spin up type of storm because I am not getting as clear of an indication of rotation. That being said, if you are in Oxford or if you are in southern Preble County, we still have this tornado warning. This is until 11:30 p.m. And it does look like that rotation that I was looking at in Shelby County is also starting to weaken, and the National Weather Service is also saying that as well, but they're still watching that one very closely as potentially that rotation could have moved a little bit closer to the surface. So if you're in Oxford, Somers Township, Somerville, 11:30 p.m., 11:25 p.m. for Somerville. If you're in those areas, you want to go ahead and be prepared to get into your safe spot just in case, because we are tracking that storm. Although the rotation's not as strong as it previously was, because if we can go back, look at this over Riley Township, very strong, what we call a couplet, making its way northeastward over Oxford, which was our radar indicated tornado, but we're still watching that one. And then we're also monitoring Shelby County very closely, which does have a indication of some radar with this that would be potentially making its way closer into the Sydney area. So the rotation in Butler County, as they're talking about, and I was mentioning it, that does look like it has weakened. Potentially was a brief spin-up tornado. That being said, if you're in Preble County, southern Preble County, we still have that tornado warning in effect until 11:30 p.m. So you'll want to be in your safe spot. And then we're also tracking this storm, which is in Shelby County, very closely, because this could also have the potential to produce a brief spin-up tornado as well. So I would, if I were in Sydney and Shelby County, just certainly you want to be on alert, as we are seeing clear signs of rotation with this, although we do not have a tornado warning at this time. So they did trim back that previous tornado warning for the Oxford area, but it still includes southern Preble County, including Somerville area, Somers Township, so State Route 177, 127 as well. We still do have a tornado watch in effect for our southern counties that we do have our tornado warning issued for: Preble County, Butler County, Warren County. And although we don't have a tornado watch for Shelby, Miami County right now, we do have that storm that we're watching closely in that area that is showing signs of rotation. So this is again what we're tracking. This is our storm to our southwest with that tornado warning. We're also tracking this one here, which is really just along 75 at this time in Shelby County. We do have indications of rotation with that particular storm, but we're also tracking this tornado warning until 11:30 p.m. So we got about 12 more minutes on this tornado warning, which still does include southern Preble County, making its way northeastward at about 30 miles per hour. So not as clear of an indication of rotation with that storm, but that tornado warning is still in effect for you. And we're also monitoring this line back off to our west, although this hasn't been strengthening as much, but we'll continue to monitor that, as again, this is with a tropical system, so we want to watch anything closely to potentially bring a brief spin-up tornado. So that's what we're monitoring the potential for. I'm going to take a look at this storm again that we were monitoring up into Shelby County. It was in northern Miami County. Still at least some very strong winds with this. This is indicating potentially some 60-mile-per-hour winds, although I feel like that may be a little bit excessive. That being said, some strong winds certainly making their way into Preble County at this time, or excuse me, into Shelby County at this time. And then we're also monitoring that potential area of rotation, as well as this tornado warning that does include southern Preble County, and that's southwest of Somers Township, Israel Township as well. So if you are in this tornado warning, you want to remember that you will want to be in your safe spot. We have Elise Coulter here to tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so your safe spots, obviously, if you live in a home, you want to get to the basement or the lowest floor, which can be in the closet or even the bathroom. You just want to make sure that you're getting somewhere that you can be covered. Get under sturdy furniture as well and stay away from any of the windows. Now, if you live in a mobile home, you do want to get out of that mobile home, find a nearby shelter. Get somewhere other than the mobile home if you can. Take cover in a ditch or even a culvert. Also, find steady furniture as well to kind of put up over top of you if you are in that ditch or culvert. Now, if you're in a car or a truck and you're driving, never, ever try to outrun that tornado. If you see one on the ground, do not try to outrun it. You want to get out of your car and get into the nearest ditch. Avoid all highways and even those underpasses in the highways as well. The best thing you can do if you are driving in your vehicle while this is going on, of course, is to get to a ditch or a culvert, somewhere that you can kind of tuck yourself in and get to safety in that area. Now, Natalie, I know that you have been following all of this now. This is the remnants of Hurricane Beryl that is now making its way into the Miami Valley. We've kind of been seeing the effects of this happening for several hours now, kind of off and on throughout the night. And I know you especially have been keeping a very close eye on this. So what's happening right now?
Yeah, we still have this tornado warning in effect until 11:30. We had one earlier this evening that was also for Preble County until earlier this evening. So we've been tracking these storms, which have the potential for a brief spin-up tornado. That's the type of system that we're looking at with this. Right now, we have this storm in Preble County. We're still watching very closely. It's in Butler County, moving northeastward, but we're also tracking this storm up in Shelby County right now. It does look like at least some pretty strong winds associated with it, and there was some area of rotation that we're monitoring closely southwest of Sydney. So if you're in Shelby County, keep in mind we're watching this very closely because there is the potential for not just some rotation. Again, tornado warning not issued, but certainly some worrisome signs of potentially some of that rotation making its way into that Sydney area. So do keep that in mind. Taking a look here at our velocities, which is the winds within the storm. So we're looking at the winds towards the radar and away from the radar. And when the colors get very bright, like what you see right here west of Sydney, this is indicating some very strong winds, at least not necessarily a couplet type feature that we're looking at here. That being said, we have seen some rotation with this storm near Sydney, so we're watching that closely. And then we also have this one in Preble County right now. The storm is making its way north of Oxford, C-177, north of Somerville as well. We still do have that tornado warning in effect for our Somerville area, or southern Preble County, I should say, at this time with this particular storm traveling its way northeastward. And again, this is due to the remnants of Beryl. Typically on the western edge of this system is where we get the greatest concerns for severe weather. So kind of showing you the bigger picture here. The center of the storm is right about here where I have that area of low pressure, and that will head its way in tomorrow. And we'll still feel the impacts, but our severe weather risk is mainly for this evening. That's what we're tracking. But we're going to continue to monitor storms heading into the area for the rest of this evening. Again, latest tornado warning still does include Preble County. And again, I'm going to look at the winds within this because there wasn't as clear of an indication earlier. It does look like it's weakened, but technically that tornado warning is still in effect for Preble County until 11:30 p.m. And we're also still tracking that storm off to the north in Shelby County. I'm checking in with the National Weather Service, indicating that this line off to our west, which wasn't looking terribly concerning, but also you could see more lightning within this. So potentially could still be monitoring this line making its way in, posing a little bit more of a severe risk too. So just be on alert this evening. Have a way to receive those weather alerts. The tornado watches until midnight, but if we're still tracking this one, may have to really be on the watch for anything strong to develop later into the evening as well. So just keep that in mind as we continue to track these storms making their way through, posing the risk for a brief spin-up tornado, which potentially was the case with this storm in Butler County, now making its way into Preble County. So again, Preble County, you're still under that tornado warning. Southern Preble County near the Summers Township area, that's until 11:30 p.m. So indoors, away from windows, you'll want to be at the lowest level of your home. And then we're also tracking this storm up in Shelby County as well very closely with that potential for some rotation with that. Also with some heavy rain, some localized flooding. Definitely can't be ruled out either. So we've been monitoring a couple of flood advisories around the region too. But our latest storm is still this one here in Preble County right now, and that is until 11:30 p.m. Taking a look here at our tornado watch, which is for Preble County as well as Butler, as well as Preble County, as well as Butler County. This is until midnight, and we're tracking that potential for perhaps a brief spin-up tornado. But overall, through the evening, we have that line of storms off to our west. So I'll take a look at radar here. We have this tornado warning for another 5 minutes or so for Preble County, and then we're also tracking these storms up into parts of Auglaize County as well as into Shelby County. That was showing us signs of rotation earlier. Lots of rainfall, heavy rain. Got some tropical moisture with us, so we're dealing with the heavy rain, that's for sure. But we were also monitoring at least some strong winds making their way into Sydney at this time. Doesn't necessarily mean that these winds are at the surface. Our radar, when it's scanning a little bit higher up. So we're seeing the winds aloft, not necessarily what's happening